Hi, I'm Beth Battolino, CEO of Healthy Women. Thank you for joining us today on Healthy Women's first talk show, WomenTalk.
You deserve really good information, you deserve support, and you deserve a lot of care.
We have to advocate for ourselves and keep going and ask questions. And sometimes that goes against our nature, which is another place where friends can be really helpful.
You are a vital role of your healthcare. You are considered a member of that team, and your voice is just as valuable as us as healthcare providers.
I'm not a pediatrician. If something's going on with my child, you best believe I'm Googling it first. You know what I mean? Then I'm making that call. So I think it's very healthy for patients to arm themselves with some information.
With mental health treatment, it's kind of like finding the perfect pair of shoes. You have to find a good fit to create kind of that safe environment to get the most out of it.
Limits are loving and boundaries are beneficial. So by setting clear limits, we're letting people know, I care about you, but this is what I'm able to do.
And we can enjoy the ride and we can tweak it and we get to decide what that looks like along with the village that we create to help us.
Take control of your pleasure. Learn about your body. I mean, I don't know how many women I meet that are still learning about their anatomy and how their body functions. So I think taking control of your pleasure is learning what feels good for you. Sexuality doesn't have to be intimidating.
How can we take these things and move them forward in a way that is going to empower us, not weaken us, not make us more afraid to have body sovereignty, but really to own it, to empower us, and to make this stage of life something truly valuable personally?
I will always choose this because I want to live, and I'm going to do so in an empowered and informed way.
I say that I'm a superhero.
Thanks again for joining us on WomenTalk. Don't forget to follow us on social and visit our website at www.healthywomen.org.
And welcome to WomenTalk. I'm Beth Battolino, CEO of Healthy Women and your host of WomenTalk. On this episode, we'll be discussing why it's so important to continue to protect against COVID-19 and to educate ourselves and our loved ones on the available vaccine options. This week, we're proud to welcome our guest, actor, mother, and business owner, Nicole Ari Parker. Nicole has starred in a number of movies. Nicole has also been supporting health and wellness initiatives for many years. Nicole, I'm a huge fan of yours, both on and off screen, and we're thrilled to have you join us today on WomenTalk. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, as we both know, over the past 3 years, COVID has altered every aspect of our daily lives and our routines. Although COVID is no longer considered a public health emergency, we know that COVID cases and hospitalizations are once again on the rise. My question to you, Nicole, is why is raising awareness about COVID vaccine options such an important cause for you?
Well, it's important because, as you said, it's not really over. And as many other women do, I often think about how to best take care of myself, but also my husband, my kids, my 83-year-old dad, my 80-year-old mom. You know, I have an unshakable desire to protect them from harm's way. And so here's what I've learned. Staying informed about public health issues and up to date on public health issues like COVID is crucial to making smart decisions to keep myself and my family safe.
So it is so true. And especially because women are not only the moms and the wives and taking care of, but we're like the CEOs of our families, right? We're making sure that everyone's taken care of and the house is running and everything else. Yeah. So it is so important. No, I completely, I'm on the same wave with you and believe in that too. In addition to your roles on the stage and the screen, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a daughter, an advocate. As a working mom myself, I understand the stress that comes with being a woman in the middle, children, partners, taking care of aging parents, as well as our careers. And the stress was at an all-time high for women during the pandemic, for sure. Not only were we the wives, the mothers, but we were also the teachers. What are some of the things that you do in order to feel in control of your life and your well-being? How do you take care of you?
Well, as you mentioned, wearing multiple hats, it's very challenging at times. And it's important, I think, to put your health, your personal health at the forefront. And for me, that includes having a regimen that I can keep, not overwhelming myself. You can get a very impactful workout in your home on the floor for 15 minutes and just promise yourself and your body that you'll commit to that. Having 2 small bottles of water lined up and getting them down, taking your vitamins, the 2 or 3 that you think are very important, and committing to that. It really does tell yourself how much you matter. Your body responds to that, and it sustains your energy so you can take care of everyone else.
I love that advice. And I think it's so important for other women to hear the importance of taking care of ourselves, because I feel that so many of us, we put ourselves on the B list and everyone else comes before us, even our pets. Like, we will cancel our mammogram, but take our pet to the vet. So I love the fact, for sure, right? But I love the fact that you just so simply stated some of the things that you do to prioritize your health. It's so important.
I think it's important to have those small goals, because that builds our goal stamina, if you will, and gives us that cumulative health practice that does, that's sustainable.
No, I love that. It is sustainable. We don't have to run a marathon. It's just simple. Yep. I love the 15-minute workout, putting the 2 bottles of water right there and the 3 vitamins. Easy.
Yes. And if you're going to do the workout, you can wear my product, the Gym Wrap, for your at-home sweat protection gear. Add that to your fitness toolbox.
There we go.
Yes, I'm proud of it. Women-owned business for health and wellness.
For healthy women.
Yes.
So we know that women prioritize everyone else's health before their own. We were just talking about that. And oftentimes women are the decision makers when it comes to advocating for our loved ones and making those important healthcare decisions. As a mother of 2 children and having parents who are aging, what questions do you and your family ask when it comes to choosing a vaccine?
Something we started even when the kids were really young. I have a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old now. But even when they were really young, we'd like to have discussions around the dinner table, because on their cell phones, they're getting so much information, so much going on in the world, so many things coming at them, that I've always wanted to gauge where they are, hear their thoughts, and share opinions. And in those, during those conversations, we spent many dinners discussing COVID. What were they afraid of? What was happening? How to protect yourself? And what's the real information on vaccines and protection? And we really listened to them and honored their fears and saw how resourceful they were about finding correct information. So after that, we made the best choice for our family and trying to stay safe. We really wanted to see my parents, their grandparents. We wanted to be able to travel. So we chose to get vaccinated. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. And we also remember back in 2020 when our lives were put on hold, we were paused and we were separated from our loved ones in daily activities. What is one thing that you can share with our audience about your own decision to get vaccinated, and how did you come to that decision to understand which vaccine was the best?
Well, like many people across the country, I remember the day the COVID lockdown was announced. There was full panic. The world changed. A flood of questions were rushed to my mind. Am I going to get infected? Am I going to unknowingly harm someone else? How will this affect my work, my husband's work? Life was put on hold, the whole gamut of emotions, and we weren't sure when the pandemic would end. And we didn't know how quickly a vaccine could be developed. And part of my decision to get vaccinated was to be able to work. In my industry, it was important that on the set that everyone was safe. But then, my kids and my parents, they informed themselves and made their own decision. And that's what I've learned from my personal experience. I've loved the ability to have access to information, and staying informed about public health issues like COVID is crucial to making smart decisions to keep my family safe. And I did this after it being somewhat mandated by my job. I still did my own research, and I spoke to medical experts about my options to keep me safe and to keep my loved ones safe and protected with vaccination.
Yeah, I think there's so many of us that we're doing the same thing, as educating. And you said some really powerful, messages. Educate yourself, listen, and do what's best for you and your family. So thanks again for sharing that, Nicole. In addition to my role at Healthy Women, I'm also a practicing nurse in a hospital.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. We both work in very public settings. So do you have any concerns about being surrounded by so many people who may not be up to date on their vaccines?
Well, in most public spaces like a theater, they do gently still suggest that you wear a mask, vaccinated or unvaccinated. But I continue to stay informed about public health issues like COVID and make my own decisions to keep myself and my family safe. And my hope is that people do the same, that they really dig deep, find out what's going on right now, as COVID, like we said, is still here, find out how to protect themselves properly, and, visit choosetoprotect.com. Speak with a healthcare provider about what is right for them, and then make the best choice for you and your family.
I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much for being here today, Nicole. It's so awesome to have talked to you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your experiences with us. I also want to thank Novavax for making this episode possible. For more information on Choose to Protect campaign, please visit choosetoprotect.com and healthywomen.org. Thank you again for joining us today, and we'll see you on our next episode of Women Talk.
Can't wait.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Women Talk. Stay tuned for more Healthy Women live events at www.healthywomen.org. You can also follow us at Healthy Women on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or LinkedIn, or follow us on Instagram at healthywomen.org. We'll see you next time.